Hello.
Hello, hi.
This is eagerly anticipated, I think, today.
Oh, by you.
By me. That's
By
what I
you,
meant,
yeah.
yeah.
So for those that aren't telepathic, what we're doing today is we
Shame on
are
you.
we're talking about homemade, having a chat about homemade and gaming, which is a follow-up to the previous one, the Cheryl Nerd Fest on homemade and board games. So yeah, we thought right, we better do the other type of gaming. And here we are. We're going to talk about it. So I think we better kick off by explaining what we mean by gaming. Over
Well,
to you. That one's
yes.
you.
Yeah, it depends on who you're talking to, I suppose. It can mean a variety of things. Obviously, as you said, we're not talking about board games today. We're talking about some type of technology being involved. So whether that's console, a handheld, a mobile device, a PC, it's something like that, and it can be an online experience or not.
Yeah.
It could be cooperative play offline, or it could be, a lot of the time, which is what I like doing, solo play. I personally don't know why you'd ruin it by involving other people, but I know a lot of people do, and a lot of people like it. But keep them away from me, please.
Uh, does that extend to NPCs,
No.
non-playing characters? Do,
Yes.
do, do you do you allow them in the game?
Oh, yes. Otherwise, it'd be a bit empty, wouldn't it? But
It'd
yes,
just be you playing table tennis, going bonk.
yes.
Oh,
Well,
the end of
yes,
the
exactly.
game.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay,
Yes, it
cool. All
would
right. Well,
be
let's have
boring.
a bit of a I don't know. Tell us what you got. Right? What have you got? Actually, I'm going to start because you're going to love this. I have a 25-year-old at least Wii console. We are using that. We still use it. So if people say, "What have you got?" We have a Wii, and then we have a PlayStation 2. No, PlayStation 2. No, we've got an Xbox 360. An Xbox 360, which frankly just got used for playing DVDs for quite a while. Um, and then everything else, anything else we play is on a mobile or PC.
I'll just say DVDs, for those that don't know, are discs that films used to come on um,
You
before
can say,
streaming
and you can get them
existed.
from Blockbuster. You're going to tell, yeah, you forgot to
Oh,
mention that.
absolutely, yes. I
Yeah.
think there's still one store in the US, isn't there? Or there was.
Anyway, sorry. Yeah. So in terms of devices, we are not up with the expensive ones.
That's almost
Um,
horrified me, to be honest.
but we do free games online, and we pay for games like for PC and stuff. So yeah, how about you? What do you got?
What have I got? I have a Switch, a Nintendo Switch. I play some games very casually on my mobile phone, but my main setup is a gaming PC. That is pretty. This isn't a boast. It's quite a high end PC. You wouldn't really get this spec if you weren't gaming on it.
Mhm,
So
mhm.
I've had that for 3 years now. This one, it's still going strong. So yeah, that's I mainly game on PC. I prefer the controls, and I prefer the graphics are you can get more
Yeah.
powerful.
Okay, but this is about
Machines.
homemade and gaming,
This is
so
this
we
is not.
probably
It's
ought to
not.
let
I must remember, it's not about Craig and gaming. This
great
is about home
gaming.
ed and gaming.
How do you manage to do all the gaming whilst home editing? That's no, that's a different thing. So, um, yeah. So let's talk about how it fits in with your home ed then. So just as a reminder, you have the one child. It's a girl, and she is how old?
Uh, 9,
Nine. Right.
nine and
Okay.
a half next month.
So once you get to, I think, a teenager, you stop about the halves and
Oh, it
stuff.
doesn't matter so much, does it? But
Yeah, no.
I still
Okay, so
think,
in
yeah.
which case I have a 13-year-old, and at some point he'll be 14, and only child. And yeah, so we've been home editing since the end of primary school, and you've been home editing because you just never stopped
Since
parenting,
forever,
basically.
exactly.
So,
Since she was born,
okay.
yeah.
So, how has gaming interfered? No, not interfered with your home ed. How has
Has homemade
how has
interfered
it
with my
become?
gaming?
Yes, how's it become part of your home education regime?
So, um, Yeah, so it's quite a funny one. Well, it's not. It's not that funny. People probably say, "Well, that's really boring." After I said it, so I won't. I won't preface it with saying it's funny.
Okay.
Um, it's I I found it, first of all, I found it a real struggle to try and share. So to share my kind of the thing that I love and the thing that I really like doing
Yeah.
with someone else. That
Right. Did this not come up before a
this, I
child got
think.
involved?
What do you mean?
Okay. So your other half, did you not have to
Oh,
involve? Did you not
oh
a fan of
no.
gaming or no?
No, no, not a fan,
Okay.
not a fan.
Oh,
So I
okay.
just
Okay.
do,
Mm.
when she goes out, I'm playing and stuff like that.
Oh,
So
okay.
yeah,
Ah,
yeah,
okay.
I see what you mean.
Ah.
Um, Not that my daughter wants to play the stuff I'm playing because I wouldn't let her really play that. But it's, I think it's more of the, oh, can we play this? And I'm not, well, I'm not actually in the mood to play something right now, and then being forced to do something that I do for fun then makes it less fun. But
Mm-mm.
that aside, I think we that happened quite rarely anyway. But we've settled into, we've got a few games that we play together on the PC. We play things like Planet Zoo. There's a lot of learning in that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And we play Wingspan, which we touched on before in the board game episode. And we play things like that. And then she plays some more casual gaming on her tablet. But
So
also
can I just say, is
go
it
on.
like mostly, Daddy, can I play? Let's play a game together. And sometimes it's a board game, but other times it might be let's play a game online together or a
Yeah,
digital
it's very
game
occasion.
together.
Yeah, it's well, not very occasionally, but it's less frequently the PC one. She's not
Mm,
developed my love of them. I'm going to say yet because
yeah.
yeah, I'm hopeful that she might creep in there when she's a little bit older and get a bit more involved in some of the more exciting ones that I play because I think she'd enjoy them. But
Mm. So is this
yeah,
stuff that you're doing on the Switch then?
so we play like Mario Kart and
Yeah.
things like that on the Switch together. She enjoys that. And even in that, there's learning going on
Mm,
there, and
mm,
even in the hand-eye coordination, etc., etc. But yeah, a lot of the time, if she's asking to play a different game, it will be the Planet Zoo. Can we go and have a look at my zoo? Can we add some more animals and build some more enclosures, etc., etc.? And there's, and we do that. It's not massively frequent, but she does ask,
mm, mm.
occasionally.
And you said she does casual gaming on is it on a phone or a tablet
On
or
a,
something?
on her tablet, yeah.
Mm,
So
okay.
yeah, there's things like, so we've got a subscription to Netflix, and you can get Netflix games
Right.
on there, which are really good. So if you've got a subscription to that, do check those out. So she's got things like Minesweeper on there, and some,
Mhm.
quite a lot of logic puzzle things that she enjoys doing. She then also has kind of a bit nothingy games, really, just for fun.
So we call those chewing gum games in our house.
I've never heard that term.
No, we invented it. It was just
Just
that
in your
kind of
house.
like, it's just a chewing gum game, and it was a way of trying to understand what need is being met by a game. It's like, what do I need? I need something to just occupy me for a
Mm,
bit because my brain's a bit bored, and and the way those games slotted into our home ed was the kind of like agreement we came to. We have loads of agreements. It's like, and if it doesn't work, then we figure out something else. But the agreement was, yeah, of course you can do these ridiculous chewing gum games where you're just clicking, 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 because I understand why you need to do that. But you've got to do something else at the same time. So you've got to do something like and listen to a podcast at the same time, listen to something. So it's like it is it is mindless, and that's fine.
yeah.
But unless you're doing it just to calm down for a bit, if you're going to do it for any length of time, stick on a podcast, and then you've got something going in at the same time. It's a bit like me
Yeah.
doing my knitting when I'm watching Midsummer Murders. I was kind of like, I was like, got to do that's my chewing gum TV, and I do a bit of knitting, so I feel like I'm being productive. Um, so
Well, the
that's
thing about knitting
his
is
thing.
it doesn't stimulate the reward center of your brain like those games are designed to do, because they're designed to get you
Yeah,
coming back and clicking more and
yeah,
stuff. So that
exactly.
those chewing gum games are really
Yeah. Yeah, and that's fine.
addictive.
And it's like, okay. And we also did, we kind of segued a little bit into some of the stuff that people have actually asked us to talk about. Um, it's
We try to
also,
do that sometimes.
well, okay, yeah, yeah, one of us does. Um, it's also a way in which we've kind of, I don't know, come to some sort of what's a safe way of using gaming, what's a smart way of using gaming,
Yeah.
an intelligent way of using it. And so I think for us, gaming has been a focus for quite a lot of conversations and negotiation and research and basically practicing some of the skills and some of the decision making that you're going to need to do and joint decision making that you need to do in life, in quite a sort of like a harmless, doesn't really matter if you mess this one up situation. So it's like, okay, instead of me going, oh, there's been too much gaming, it's like, well, what do you think's the right? What do you think's the right amount of time? What are you getting from it? What are you using it for? Okay, okay, fine, that's fine, brilliant. But it's very intentional. And so we
Mm.
don't set time limits. I don't set time limits. He sets time limits because he's got to the age now where we talk about it quite a lot. And he's like, I'm not happy with how much time I'm spending gaming. If I feel dissatisfied when I finish, I think I'm doing too much. And because I'm not going, ha, you see, I told you, right back to 2 hours. He's like, I think I'm going to set myself a timer. And then when that finishes, I'm just going to come off. I'm like, but it wasn't a manipulative thing at all because he just was like came to that by himself, and it's kind of for future when he's older and he doesn't have an adult kind of badgering him about stuff. He needs to be able to do that himself, right?
Yeah.
And I think if you can let that stuff go enough, and just kind of go, we are going to have a conversation about this. We're going to be partners in this situation. I'm going to educate myself about it. I'm going to play the same stuff as you so I know what I'm talking about. We're going to find stuff out together. There was a little bit about let's find out about how games are designed to be addictive. So it is a little bit of kind of, do you want to be played by these people who are making money off
Mm.
you and that kind of. He's like, no, I'm not happy with that, but I am happy with this. And so, yeah, it's very intentional in our house. And so, sorry, I interrupted you on the chewing gum game, but that's what we call it because we have things for different reasons. And for us, my son, gaming is one. It's just like, yeah, I feel like just doing not a lot, but also it's a social thing for him because it was a way when we went into lockdown that he was able to socialize with his cousins. They did it over a
Mm.
Zoom. They still do. They have a Zoom running, and then they play the same game online, and then they're chatting through the Zoom. Sometimes I hop on. I'm like, "Ooh, hello, Auntie Cheryl," And sometimes I hop on and play the same game as them, and they're like, Auntie Cheryl's joined the game, you know. And it's cute. It's actually really nice, and you hear them chatting away, or they're commentating on each other. And so for him, it's a very important way of him socializing with some people who are important in his life.
Mm.
And he doesn't do it in order to learn, but because we talk a lot, he understands and appreciates that he is learning an awful lot from this. And we'll talk about that. We can talk about that in a minute. But I would say that I don't even keep track of time that he spends gaming because it just wouldn't be fair. He's so intelligent with it.
He sounds very self. I can't think of the a phrase that fits there. The
Self-disciplined.
self. That's it. That's the
Yeah.
one. Well done.
He is.
Yeah,
He says that he
self-disciplined.
wouldn't have been able to become self-disciplined if he hadn't got the space to make choices for himself.
Yeah.
And so when people, what have you learned from gaming? He has learned how to be self-disciplined and how to make choices for himself. And then go, he will say to me, God, I'm going to get reported for this, but he's like, my wrist hurts. And I'm like, well, you know what? That happens to me when I spend too long at the computer because I do typing and all that kind of stuff. It's like, do you want to look up what RSI is? And then we'll talk about that and blah, 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 blah. And he's really conscious of it now. And it
Just
wasn't,
get him a wrist support. He can carry on. He'll be all right.
Ace of the pain, man, you big wuss. um, So
Gaming
yeah,
is everything, man. Come on.
it was like, kind of an important thing. And so and also he's done loads of research into the right, you'll know this, gaming mice. And he's left-handed. So he had to look up what's
Oh,
the best gaming mouse for a left-hander and keybinds and all this kind of stuff. Anyway, so if you get into it, it can be a real special interest. Can't
oh,
it,
it
Craig?
can. Absolutely, yeah. I mean, I don't even need this, but I've got a very fancy keyboard that's got like a 1 millimeter articulation point, so you can make the keys respond by the like feather touch, which is it's
Hmm.
amazing for typing as well. But it's
Yeah.
really you'd buy it if you were gaming. I don't
Mhm.
need that in the games I play really, but it's nice to know I've got it. Not sure what the point in sharing that was. This is just about talk about something you
Still
like,
about
Craig.
home ed.
Yeah,
We're still no,
exactly.
we're
Yeah,
talking
get
about
it back to
yeah,
home
yeah.
ed.
As a child, if you were gaming, this is also what you'd be able to do, Craig, wouldn't it? You would have been able
Absolutely,
to
yeah, yeah, exactly.
indulge your
You could, and
nerdiness with that.
get this keyboard. It's amazing. You can program the articulation points, children, and you can experiment with different lights on it and stuff. It's great, great. Mini programming session for them.
Yeah,
There we
yeah,
go.
yeah.
Got it back. I got it back.
You got
It's
it back. Well
excellent.
done. Um,
Um,
so what do we think parents are concerned about with home ed and gaming? Let's make a
Well,
list.
yes, there is a list, isn't there? We got a lot of questions in. I mean, there's a lot. Obviously, there's a lot about safety, especially if they're
Mm.
playing online.
Mm.
Online safety stuff. I mean, how do you make sure that your son is safe in that environment?
Okay, well, every time he asked to do something, like, can I have a Roblox account? Okay, I'd say, okay, I'm going to look into it
Mm,
and then I'll have a look at it and I'll let you know. It wasn't yes, no. I was like, I don't know. I'm going to go and find out about it. We found out about it. I found out that, there's a lot on there. Also, I was going to shout out to, I think it's Common Sense Media, NSPCC, loads of like reputable sources. We'll put them
yeah,
in the show notes. Um, there's loads of advice out there on it. The main thing is educate yourself and don't
yeah,
rely on other people to tell you how things work. Do it yourself. So I concluded at the age he started, he was still in primary school because it was during lockdown. I'd resisted it for quite a while, and then I was like, this is a way that you're going to be able to connect with your friends. Okay, fine. So what I did was I joined as well. So we set up an account. It's for him tied to one of my email addresses.
mm,
And then if there's ever an issue, I'm the one that hears about it. And we did it to his particular, we talked about the different settings and I involved him in it. And then I also created my own account. He had certain rules about he could only be friends with people he was friends with in real life. As he's got older, that's relaxed a little bit. But we've also talked about, well, what does that mean in terms of safety settings? It's just each time, it's just another little step. It is work. It is work, right? So it is easier in some ways just to go, nah, you're not doing it. Because actually then I've got to deal with all this stuff. I've already having to deal with all this other stuff. It is work. Don't say yes for an easy life and then not do the work. So
absolutely.
yes, and join it yourself. One of you needs to be, I think, um, signed up and their friend, and then you can experience what they're experiencing, and you can understand how things work. And then you can also understand the games. Now it comes later when we talk about what's my child learnt. It's like you need to play the game really to know. Don't rely on someone else, because you've
Especially
got
with
to.
something like Roblox, where there's literally hundreds of thousands, probably
Well, this
millions
is the other thing. I
of
mean, I might
online
quick
create.
little education. Roblox is not a game.
Yeah,
Roblox is a platform from which you. It's a bit like saying, what did you watch last night? Oh, I watched Netflix. It's like, no, you
yeah,
didn't. You watched a TV program or many programs via Netflix. You play
yeah,
games via Roblox.
absolutely. Yeah,
That's the simple thing. So get to understand that one. If you are really freaked out by all that, that's okay. You can do things other ways. You can buy games. So that's another thing we've said to him is like, I'd rather pay for you to have a game that we can install on your mobile or on your PC, and that we know it's half decent, because also
yeah.
these free ones are a bit rubbish and they will frustrate you and that annoys you and blah blah blah. So that's the safety bit. Is we talk about everything. And I tell you what, as well, and I don't think it's just my child, because we've had that conversation from the beginning. Anytime something happens on the computer, some random pop-up comes, he's like, "Oh, Mum, this has come up. What should I do?" Or, can I download this thing? Can I do that? Because I won't just go, "Oh, no." I'll go, "Oh, let me have a look at it. Okay. Oh, no, that looks dodgy, and I'll tell you why." And then he's learning about digital intelligence,
Yeah.
making sense of stuff.
And this is the thing, isn't it? A lot of people are scared and say,
Mm,
I don't know anything about tech or anything about
mm,
the gaming or things
yeah,
like that. And the thing is, barring, certain things that might preclude you from doing it, if you can read stuff, you can do it. It's not asking you to be a technician. It's asking you to pay attention and
mm,
to, kind of understand what you're reading. If you don't
yeah,
understand it,
mm,
chances are it's not going to be, suitable for your child to try and interpret it without you. Is my view anyway.
yeah.
As you said, understand it yourself, get involved yourself, experience what your child's experiencing
Yeah.
is the way
I
to
t-
keep them
yeah.
safe.
I tell you what, and it can be a lot more fun than watching some of the awful children's programs. Uh, like if you gave me, do you want to play Adopt Me on Roblox or watch Alvin and the Chipmunks with me? I'm like, now let me think. I'll see you on Roblox then, darling. It just, I don't want to have a conversation about the ins and outs of Hey Dougie or that
Yeah.
kind of stuff. That's just not my thing. And sitting still watching telly isn't my thing. But playing something that is interesting. And anyway, so yeah, so I think so if Roblox, if anything comes up, you need to get on it as well. So the next thing that came up, which is an older child thing, is Discord. So are you on Discord?
Very occasionally, not in any real way.
Yeah. So similar to, well, nearly all of these things, you've got to be 13 to be on Discord, right? And loads of kids, of course, aren't because all their friends are. They're all under 13. But we had this whole thing of like, oh, please come be on Discord. You can when you're 13, then we will have that conversation. In the meantime, I'll look into it and we'll try it and we'll talk about it. And that was a bit of a leap for me, but it's a bit like letting him go off down the town without me. It's kind of when you're on there, I now have to trust that you're going to do what you said you were going to do, and you're going to let me know if you go somewhere else from what you said. So, I set him up with it. Me and his dad are both friends with him. And I set it up on a family. There's a family thing. They're actually very good Discord with supporting families. I get an update every week. And he knows I get an update every week. It doesn't say any personal stuff, but it will tell me if he's made new friends with anyone, how much he's played, and I can then have a conversation. It's a bit like looking at a bank statement, but it's like, oh, there's an odd payment. What's that one about? You can go like, oh, I see you made a new friend. But to be fair, he'll tell me stuff anyway, right? And just have it. You have to then have those conversations. I think that's the thing. So it isn't it's just it's another location where things can happen when you're
Yeah.
not there. Like, and again, your daughter's not old enough for this yet, but my kid goes to the park. I can't control who's going to be at the park. All I can do is trust that he will know what to do if things start getting a bit hairy,
Yeah.
and come away again. I don't let him go there at night. So it's a kind of a similar. You make these choices, but I do think it's a lot scarier as a parent, if you haven't been to that place yourself. So when I say he goes to the park, I know that park. I know what it's like. I've been there myself. He goes on to Roblox. I know because I've been there myself. If he talks about a game, which he does all the time, I'm like, I'll check that one out. And then sometimes I'll be like, I think that I wouldn't like this one.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, now I know. Off he goes. So yeah, so I find it's a really great source of conversation for your children.
And
I really
it's
do.
as you say, it's a good in that negotiation, and that that is a good life skill to be able
Mm,
to have those conversations with people. And you can extrapolate that to other
yeah,
situations as well, where that would come in handy. But it's so essential for you to know what is going on. I mean, it's the amount of people that I see, you know, not necessarily on our community, but other places where they're talking about, like you said, about being 13, needing Discord.
Mm.
You know, you need to be 13, as you do with all social media, etc. Um, but the amount of people that let their children play on games rated far above their own
Yes,
age,
let's talk about that. Okay,
yes,
so I tell you what I think. I think the main question people haven't said but they're thinking is, am I being a good parent if I let my home ed kid do gaming? I think that's what it's really boils down to, because a lot of the questions are like, is this safe? Is this okay? What's the learning? Well, why do you care? Oh, because you're trying to be a good home ed parent. Um, and there's a bit of you that's thinking you must doubt it, because why are you asking? Otherwise, nobody asks, oh, what's my child learning from learning maths? Or like they're reading a book. You
yeah,
kind of like you kind of know. Even stuff like, oh, they're using Lego. You could probably figure that one out because you used to play Lego. Um, and there's also like, how the hell do I write about this to the LA? What will the LA think? I think there's all that
absolutely,
stuff of how can something that my child finds so fun be okay to allow them to do for hours each week?
yeah,
How can that be home ed? Um, and that makes me a bit sad because it's like, if it's not fun, I don't understand why you're making it part of your home ed anyway. But anyway,
yeah.
um, sounds like we're like clown school at my house, like not.
I think some of the worry comes from, like, are they doing it too much sometimes, isn't it? And are that, is there a balance? And, really you need to decide that bit for yourself. If you, again, it's a bit like, if you think it's too much, maybe it is a bit too much, but again, it's what I spend my free time doing when I
Yeah.
get any. So, it's what I do to relax.
Mm.
If that's how your child's using it, if they're getting up doing it, from 9 till 7 every day, and that is going to be too much, isn't it? But as you said, there's so much learning that you can get from it. That
Well, I mean, the thing is, if you compare it to an office job, so if someone is at their computer, and I can easily be at my computer from the time I clock on to the time
yeah,
I finish, apart from lunch and toilet, nobody would say, well, that doesn't seem like a healthy job. It's like, well, that's how I do my job, is through the
mm,
computer. And it's like, that is how my child gets their needs met and learns and explores life and the world through that. Um, that's why I don't have a problem with how long you spend on it. It's kind of in the same way that if your child sat around and said, oh, Mummy, can we just go to the library today? I want to spend all day in the library reading. You're like, God, what am I going to do? How am I going to write this up? And like, I'm being ridiculous. And I know, but with the best in the world, when people say my child spends all day gaming, my child spends a lot of the time gaming, but that's not all he does.
yeah,
But because I let him choose it, he knows that he can stop and then do something else. There is a lot of stuff about when you make something restricted, when you make it something
oh,
that
absolutely, yeah,
is not seen as good as something else. There's so many problems around that. So I think it's a really interesting challenge, and you can end up with a really stronger relationship if you work through it, instead of kind of like just go, no, this is how it'll be, off we go. So it's very good for you to explore for yourself. What am I worried about? Why am I worried about it? And then, like, if there is a little bit of that kind of, actually, they're getting really pale. They're like wasting away in the corner of the room. Uh, and also that classic kind of like, they can't hear me because they're totally focused on this and there's no interaction.
well,
Yeah,
that again,
mix it up a little, mix
that
it up a
might be
little.
true if you've got a child that's really into
Yeah,
reading and is
yeah,
reading a book, really,
yeah,
that they're really into. They might not hear
yeah,
you then. I think that's just concentrating on
yeah,
something
yeah,
they're really
yeah,
enjoying, isn't it? But yes, I know. Yeah, if
yeah,
you're throwing things at their head and they're not answering, then yeah, that might be time to
yeah, yeah.
have
There
a
are
chat.
there are computer games you can play where you do throw things at each other's heads. You can do
Yes.
that. You can join the game. You can join the game and in the chat go, "Oi, it's time for dinner."
This is it. Yes, exactly. Yeah, yeah. If you're one of those people who likes the online element, yes, you can do that.
Yeah.
Um,
Anyway, so yes, I think it's fair enough, but I also think it is still part again of this. what should home education look like? It shouldn't look like whatever it is my child's doing. It should look like school, and we keep
Well, that's
having
it.
to
So many
keep
people
take that off our
think,
shoulders, don't we?
it shouldn't look fun, as you said, and it really should, in my opinion, be as fun as possible. Um, that's really my, put
Yeah,
the joy back into learning.
yeah,
Is kind of our debate on life.
yeah.
Um,
So you mentioned about age appropriate games, and I
oh
think so.
yes,
And we did. I mentioned writing to the LA. One really important thing to say is, right, um, do not tell the LA that your child is playing a Peggy 15 game. All right, unless your child is 15 or older. That unless you want them to start, you know, waving flags at you. Okay. So then you think, well, if I'm not telling them, why am I letting them play it? Why are you letting them play a game that's meant to be for older children? And then you have to kind of figure that one out for yourself, really.
it's a little bit like watching, films rated older, and I think
Yes,
a
no,
lot
I
of
think it
people.
is.
No, I think it's worse
Mm,
personally, but I think it's people think it's not as bad. But I personally think the immersion that you get from
mm,
a, if you're playing a not a casual game, but if you're playing a proper game, as I call
mm,
them,
yeah,
then the immersion you get, you're actually doing the thing. You're not just a passive receiver of it like you are in a film. You,
yeah.
you are doing that thing. You're experiencing it in a way that you wouldn't, especially if you're
And again, it's like, have you played Red Dead
exactly,
Redemption? Like,
exactly,
have
yeah,
you? Because if you just look at it, it's very easy to look at it and go, well, it's a bit cartoony, isn't it? And I really take your point. It's like you are the hero or the anti-hero in these
yeah.
things. And you have to make choices and you have to do this stuff, and there are almost never any consequences, all this kind of stuff. And that can be liberating and blah blah blah, but age appropriate comes in here.
It really
Um,
does.
and again, you just be mindful of it, like in the same. And I do think the films. Frankly, the Peggy thing or the rating for films for me is meaningless. It's more what's the content going to be like?
Yeah,
Is it going to trigger stuff for my child?
absolutely, yeah.
That is, I know it's going to trigger stuff. There are some PG films that we still won't watch because it's like that theme is not something we want to go on.
Yeah,
Or
definitely.
that thing once seen cannot be unseen. It's just a bit gross, all that kind of thing. So, I don't know. I don't want to be a snotty about this, but I think don't don't let your kids play a game that says 15 if they're not 15.
Yeah, I really would second that. It's not,
Yeah,
and unless if you're absolutely ultra sure, we're not not here to tell you what to do, but
yeah,
it's that those ratings are there for a reason. A really, if you don't want to play that game and find out for yourself, there's countless YouTube videos for almost every game out there. You
mm,
go
yeah,
online, have a look
yeah,
at some of the, type in, what are the goriest bits, what are the most violent bits of this
yeah,
video game, and have a
yeah,
look, and they will show you, and then
mm,
you can decide on an
yeah.
informed basis.
Mm. I mean, also, I'm going to get a bit feminist here. What lessons, what you're exposing your child to in terms of the role of men, the role of women,
Yeah,
that kind of thing. They're always brilliant in terms of role models, stuff like that. There are some that are banging, and there's one called Fable. You played Fable?
I've not. No, no.
That's a really, oh my gosh, there's a Fable 3. I'll just plug
Yeah,
this one. It's a really interesting one. And again, you need to play it yourself because it will have certain things that I
it's
can't
really
even remember what
old
the
now. That.
rating. Well, I know. Thank you. I am old. um, but what was really interesting about that was every time you did something and there was lots of ethical choices, and
Yeah,
you could choose what you did, but it had a physical effect on you. It was a bit like Portrait of Dorian Gray.
yeah.
um, it would change the way you appeared, and it changed the way the non-playing characters, interacted with you. It was fascinating, and I was like, "That's so interesting! What a great concept to have this thing of." And it also meant you could do certain things or not do certain things depending on how you behaved. So yeah, that was interesting. Again, would have a look at it before I got my child to play it. And I'd probably play it again myself to remind myself. I'm like, oh, I forgot it's got that in it. Okay, maybe not. But then, when he's older, he can choose for himself whatever he plays, right? But at the moment, you are responsible for
You
what
could play
you
more current games.
Shush! I think if my Mario Kart's been kicking about for quite a long
Not
time,
as long as
Craig.
Fable 3 it hasn't.
Right, in the comments, please, people, I want you to tell me which one's been around longest, Mario Kart or Fable 3. Don't look it up. Don't look it up, Craig.
I'm looking it up for my own
Oh,
benefit.
no. Right, moving on. Okay, we're going to move it on. I've lost him. Craig, come back. Come
I'm
back.
here.
Okay, all right. Let's talk about learning, okay? Because this is home education.
Oh, yeah.
I knew we were going to get sidetracked on this one. Oh, bloody hell. Okay, so home education, learning from games. I mean, I don't even know where to stop with learning from games.
Yeah.
One thing I will tell you, which I found very interesting, is my son started to question it. He was starting to feel guilty that he was playing games. And I'm like, no, I kind of like,
No, carry on.
Carry on. You're learning so
Get
much,
back on
but
there.
what you're learning is not something necessarily you can put under, although you can, quite a few of them can. What I think you can put under are things that you would probably put on your CV. So competencies, some competencies, some skills.
Yeah.
So what I found very interesting was the other week, and I'll see if I can find it, I'll put it in the show notes again. There was an article in a business magazine telling people what games to play to improve their management skills. And they were things like Minecraft. They were games that children are playing. And they explained why. And they said, they're basically managing resources, managing time. A lot of them are project management. And you're choosing, do I spend my time doing this? Do I use my resources for that? I've got competition. There's sometimes some cooperation going on, or collaboration, and or competition, and there's creativity going in them.
Mind, isn't it?
There's strategic time management. There's platform we used to buy games off called Big Fish, and you can trial the games. You can do a trial version for like an hour, and they had all these different categories. And then I was like, these are amazing categories like time management, resource management, puzzle solving, all this kind of stuff. And they'd already categorized them for me. But you could stumble on that game. Like, for example, Plants vs. Zombies. Hand up if you like Plants vs. Zombies.
I've never played it. I know about it. It's a more of a casual one, isn't it?
No, it's not. It's fabulous. I mean, casual as in, yes, you can stop it, but oh God, it's so good. It's so good. Yeah, you don't go on a journey.
I like games that are like 60 hours plus or something normally,
Yeah, okay. All right, so this one you can play it for a very long time, but it's a cute way of having to do some really good time management and resource management and strategy. And then you get to fail, and so you get to start again. All that happens is, the neighbour's brains or whatever. So hey, whatever. But you don't see that. You just kind of you get to start again. And so you're constantly getting to have a go at being in these situations before you're in those situations in real life. And I think that's fabulous and something that's really overlooked when people talk about, educational games. What's my child learned from a game? Oh, it's about geography. It's about numeracy. It's about being an adult. You're learning how to be an adult and have to make choices. And am I going to do this first or that first? What's important? What's urgent? And you get to fail in a safe space, and you get to try again.
That's a really good skill, actually, isn't it? That failing and learning to come back and try again and maybe try something slightly different, or just persevere with something until it works.
Why did I not get past that level? How do I beat that big boss?
Yeah.
Oh, what have I got to do? What have I got to arrive at that point with? What skill do I need to build up? My son's actually done you'd love this. He's done a whole spreadsheet. He'll work out like it takes this long to accumulate this points so I can buy this one, or is it better for me to buy this skill and upskill this? And then,
amazing.
And he does it all. He basically does the cost benefit analysis. of
He
which
should
thing to
release that.
invest in. I, I just thought, he's just done it himself. I just did a little bit of teaching him. So I'm going to segue into how you wrap around a game in home ed. I thought, ooh, I'm going to teach my boy how to do Excel, because then he has then expanded with it and gone nuts. And he's always writing little notes. All these documents appear on our shared drive of lists of things and tactics and all this kind of stuff. So sometimes you just have to go, "Ooh, what skill or what tool can I give that child that would help them expand on that and take it to a different level?" It could be, could I give them a webcam and a microphone and teach them how to record videos? So they could record video. Most kids want to be a YouTuber at some point. Have a go.
Or Twitch.
Oh yes, or Twitch. He's not discovered Twitch yet, but yeah, they want to kind of document it. They want to diary it. He records loads of stuff, and now he's editing those videos. And I don't need to tell you what's my child learned from editing videos. Well, he's learned how to edit videos, but how is that not useful? Being able to do all this stuff.
I mean, even it's not even just he can edit videos now, is it? It's the
Mm.
process of learning that is
Yeah.
as you say, it's more of it's a competency. It's
Yeah.
not a tick box thing of he
piece of
learned
knowledge,
algebra or
you
something.
know,
It's a process of learning that thing is useful in itself, whatever that thing was, and that applies back to the games as well. Sometimes that trial and error, or even just learning a new mechanic, that process of actually learning is really helpful.
Right now he's doing something. Do you know what speed running is?
Yeah.
Okay, go on then. What is it?
It's speedrunning is where you complete a game as fast as possible, and there are some ridiculous speedrunners out there, and the best ones, they try and manipulate games to almost break the game, like play it in a way it wasn't intended to be played, to do it the fastest.
So you've set themselves a goal, and they're benchmarking, and then they're trying to get faster and faster. I mean, it's no different from that being a speed cuber, or any kind of thing where you're trying to get faster and faster at doing something. You've learned how to solve the Rubik's Cube. That's not enough. I'm going to be faster and faster. And with speed running, so he's getting faster and faster. And he was trying to find out, how does he record it so that he can then upload that to a competition board, but it wasn't quite working. And then he's been researching and problem solving as part of this add-on to the game. That is where I struggle a little bit, because he'll be like, "Mom, can you help me if I can't?" And I'm like, "No, I can't." And I don't actually have the time to put time into research this to tell you the answer. You are going to have to research it and find it out for yourself, and then tell me when you figured it out. Can you ask a friend? Can you find a YouTube video about it? Can you try?
Probably.
Can you just do what I do, which is press all the buttons until something works?
That's what I tell people at work. Just press all the buttons.
You can't break it. You can't break it. And then sometimes we'll go, "Oh, do you know what? I've decided I'm not that bothered to find out." Like, okay, and you learn a lesson there too.
Everything's a lesson. Everything's a learning opportunity, isn't it? It's never a wasted opportunity there.
No, not at all. I think you just got to be very lateral thinking, and get in there, and you'll be surprised yourself.
As you said, he's gone on to speedrun. I think it's a way. If you're think, well, my child never gets off there, like, try and maybe talk to them about, encourage them into different avenues, like you said, like learn how to stream what they're doing, if that on an appropriate platform, and to appropriate audiences. Learn how to do, or if you're interested in, encourage them to do speed running or something, and say, look, see how fast you can actually do this, complete this game from start to finish, etc.
Teach me how to play it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Teach me how to play it. Or he got his granny to play the Lego Harry Potter. We got him Lego Harry Potter for the Wii. You're gonna love this. Could still get it. And there she was, jumping around, waving a magic wand. It was gorgeous to see, because he taught her how to do it.
Oh, wow.
It was really sweet. But the other thing you can do, which I haven't talked about, is coding. If you don't instead of playing the game, you can learn to make the game. And there's endless stuff on coding. Do you think is that going to have any career potential in the future? How
No,
knowing how to
not at
do
all. No,
coding?
nothing.
Nah,
No,
it's
no, I've never
a
heard of it.
dying art. It's a dying art. Um, and it's really fun. And then, because he's been doing coding, he has now started to do his GCSE maths. Turns out being good at coding and debugging and understanding if this, then that, and what order you put stuff in, all of those ways of thinking are incredibly useful for solving equations and
Yeah, again, it's that way of thinking. It's not,
logic.
you're not
Yeah.
doing the same thing as that, but
Mm.
the actual the learning and the application of that
Yeah.
style of thinking is
Yeah.
really, really useful for maths,
Yeah.
physics,
Yeah.
stuff
He's
like
got it
that.
so quickly. It's just fascinating. And I'm like, excellent. Well, so these things work both ways. And I just, yeah, all those little synapses, they're, you don't quite know when they're going to be useful. Um, and we haven't talked about socialization, but it is also a really great way of connecting with other people. Um, it's another thing, another interest you can bond over. And you can take it online and offline. I mean, the crossover one that we talked about in the outdoors episode was Pokemon Go, right?
Yeah.
Um, it's a game, but it's literally a mobile game. You walk around with it, and it can take you to places you weren't necessarily thinking you were going to go to, and all that kind of stuff. So there are some crossovers there as
And things
well.
like that can help, especially those young people that struggle to
Mm.
interact, in face to face, or find that
Yeah,
intimidating or overwhelming.
yeah,
It can be a way to help and encourage them to do some of that, interacting in a
yeah,
safer space. They're at home, not if they're going
mm,
out doing Pokemon Go, but
mm,
even then they've got a comforting, familiar thing, a
yeah,
familiar environment, a familiar handheld device or whatever, a
mm,
familiar activity, and then they're doing that other stuff on top of
yeah,
that. And that can be a really good way to help with that. Obviously, again, caveat in it with make sure that they're talking to the, appropriate people,
yeah.
people they know or people that you have vetted, etc.
Yeah, exactly. And then you're connected as well. And yeah, you've got to be present in some way with this stuff, but it, it's an opportunity. It's an opportunity. So what was there anything else that people were asking about that we have not managed to ramble on about?
Oh well, let me jump back and have a look at our list. Um, I think that yeah, I don't know. We touched on it, but like, how do you know what your child's learning, or how do you know what they're doing if you can't join in? Like, if something
Mm,
medical is precluding you from actually
yeah,
playing it with them, or
yeah. Or
something.
if, they've gone off and played it by themselves because you're with another child or something.
Absolutely, yeah.
Um,
Or they won't
how
let you
well,
join in.
well, no, they might not. I mean, they might not, but it's just like, you know, um, you've got to have conversations, haven't you, really? So, number one, okay, so number one, if you can play it when they're not around. You play it so you can at least experience the environment, learn the language a little bit,
Yeah,
um, or, you know, watch some of the YouTube videos about it, that kind of thing. And then ask them some of the terminology. It's like, oh, what does that mean? Or tell me what you like about this game. Tell me what you like about it. Or, oh, I heard you getting frustrated the other day. What was that about? And just keep, oh, I heard this. Or, some of the children I've heard, or my friend's daughter is playing this game. What do you know about that? Um, you've got to keep trying to find these ways of having conversation. And then the questions I would ask are things like, yeah, okay, so do you think it's something I would enjoy? Why? Why not? What, what have you got better at doing? How do you know when you're getting better at the game? What's your next challenge for the game? Or why have you stopped playing such and such a game? And that kind of stuff. So you've got to kind of like, yeah, get the experience from them verbally because you're not going to be there with them.
Yeah, definitely. And I think we had some people being concerned about PDA profiles not wanting people to join in or finding that
Mm,
too much of an ask to get to. And I think, as you said, if you can play it when they're not around,
mm,
um, well, I'm not an expert at all on PDA profiles, but I think something I would probably try, and I have tried in not with gaming, but in other kind of areas of our learning, is to say, oh, I'm finding this really hard. Can you help me
mm,
with this? Would you
mm.
mind showing me how you do this?
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
it's giving them a lot of power. Then they've got it's saying, you look, you're much better than me.
mm,
Would you mind helping me? And while
yeah,
that can still be too much of a demand for some kids, I absolutely know that. But for
mm,
some, I think that gives them the control they need to say, look, well, I'll show you what to do. And then that's a bit of an in as well. That might carry on, that might not, it might end at that bit. But
mm,
I think, that's the kind of way in, can you be my teacher on
yeah.
this? Can you
But that's
help
not, I
me?
mean, excuse me, that's not game specific though, is it? I
No,
mean,
absolutely. As
that'll
I
be the
say,
case for
we've,
everything, right?
I've done that in other areas of our learning,
Yeah.
not in
Mm,
gaming, but I can't see why that wouldn't work. And it's,
no.
it's something that they can, it's demonstrable, isn't it? You can sit there and show someone something or
Yeah.
talk them through it.
Mm,
And that will work for some kids, as I say. I know it won't work for all of them, but
no.
otherwise, there are so many review sites, and start with a review.
Mm,
IGN is a great gaming information place. Reviews are very good on there. If you want a very quick,
yeah.
5-10 minute review
Hmm.
to see the
Oh,
kind of overview of a game.
something we did actually. I mean, this was me being a little bit sneaky, but also I was like, oh, let's make some content for Heifer. I got Me and my son did this thing called Home Editors React. Um, because we were joking about it'd be quite funny if we had a YouTube channel, a bit like Gogglebox, but it's me and him playing a game, and then me going, "Why is he doing that?" Doing all the stupid questions I asked. I'm like, "Whoa, what's the point of this?" And all this kind of stuff. Anyway, so I said, "Well, let's do Home Editors React, and let's get a couple of educational digital games, and then you play them, and then you tell me, or write it up, type me something, answer some questions about it. It's like, what do you think of the music? What age do you think it's for? And basically do a critique of that game.
Yeah,
And then I would do it as a parent. I did it from my side, a couple of games. And it was really interesting. It was really interesting. And again, what has he learned from playing that game? Well, actually, he's not learned anything from the game. He's learned how to critique something, which was is a different thing. It was just the subject is gaming, but what he's learned is how to critique something and kind of use different criteria. We did like marks out of this and qualitative feedback and all this kind of stuff. And that was it. So we did a couple of those, but we got bored because those educational games are so boring. They're so lame. And once they hit over, they do it for Key Stage 1 and Key Stage 2, which is primary. And once they get to secondary, they're like, nah, you're on your own, kids. It's, GCSEs for you. And I'm like, oh, okay then. But that's where these adult life skills that you get from gaming, I think, comes in. Now, what people have also been asking about is how do I write this up in a response? I think carefully would be
yes,
my
definitely.
my thing, in a way that is truthful, but also is intelligent.
There's no reason to, like, for example, to state how long that your child does the gaming for. There's no
No.
reason you should be telling an LA that.
I would assume that the LA has, that they have no concept of what gaming is like beyond what they've heard about it. So you're going to have to spell it out for them big time. So for example, it could be that, you know, well, gaming is an important interest in my child's life, and but they use the chat function to communicate with the other players, and I have noticed that their typing has really increased, and they're using more complicated vocabulary in their chat. That is literacy, right? But the location that happened in gaming. So you can, I think that's the thing is gaming becomes the location where these things are happening. With Minecraft, he watched a video on how to build a such and such, and then he took those instructions and then he used Minecraft to build the same thing. One of the instructions didn't work. He got very frustrated, but he worked it out for himself and you know, and have a look online. I mean, don't use AI to figure it out because like we've got a whole episode on that one. But do use reviews of games to understand what might be going on, and then use that to go, that's my theory. Now let's see whether it is what's actually happening in this
And
situation.
that's it. I think can we just touch on that AI point,
Yeah.
because some odd people might just be watching this and not watching the AI one. In which case, pause this, go and watch that, and then come back. But for those that haven't or have forgotten, you know, everyone's watched it, haven't they? But those who've forgotten, AI doesn't know your child. AI only knows stuff that's on the internet, basically, and what it's been learning. So it doesn't know what your child's learned. It knows what there's a potential maybe, and it can even get that wrong. So as you say, you know, look for those kind of maybe ideas prior, but don't just put into AI what has my child learnt from this, because it doesn't know. Only you and your child really know that.
Okay, so homemade parents, thanks very much for listening. I hope this has inspired you to go off and do some gaming, actually. Do post on the group if you've got any gaming questions that are specific, you know, kind of learning
sorry,
questions.
Can I mention as well? I've just realised someone said, I don't think Steam gets talked about enough.
Was it you that said that?
No, it wasn't me.
Oh,
no.
sorry. Okay.
But I wanted to acknowledge that person. I'm not sure what you wanted us to say, but that is a platform that is, you know, primarily aimed at PC gamers. You can get games through it. It's where I've got the majority of my collection. So I just wanted to give a shout out that I know what Steam is, and it is.
I know what Steam is, and yes,
Valve
we use it.
Yeah.
It's good for PC games. Also, you can often get free games through it as well, and they do some massively nerdy stuff on that.
And you know, they used to make their own games as well, but obviously they don't do that because they're absolutely raking it in from just hosting this platform. But they, you know, one of them amazing games is Portal and Portal 2, which is really like a kind of physics-based game that's absolutely amazing, and is really, you know, there's a lot of logic and a lot of puzzling.
You can go on from the games as well to these kind of like simulator type things as well.
Absolutely, yeah.
My son's got one, I can't remember what it's called, but it was a separate one that I think we got from Steam, which was basically the solar system. And then you can zoom in and zoom out, and you can recreate things. You can move. What if that planet exploded? What would happen? And I know, look at your face.
That sounds amazing. I've not come across that.
And the thing is, it's coming up to Christmas, right? So
treat myself. Yeah, good point.
Treat yourself. No, but you know, these games, have a look at them. And again, there's often a trial version. You can normally try a lot of them out for about an hour. You'll soon know if it's something that's going to hook or not. But yeah, do think about spending money on these things rather than relying on the free stuff.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, cool. We've got loads of stuff to put as links. Yeah. So this will be out as soon as we've sorted those bits and pieces out. But yes, do keep asking questions about it. Share your recommendations. Tell us what tell us what your kids are playing and what they're enjoying, that kind of stuff. Okay.
Excellent.
All right, time to say goodbye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.